Simpsonville on Friday, and we're back in the book of Exodus, chapter 14. The Israelites have crossed the Red Sea successfully. Their enemy has been destroyed right before their very eyes. They're safely on the other side, and the enemy is destroyed. What do you think the first thing they did was? What was the first thing the Israelites did when they got safe to the other side and their enemy was destroyed? Second question. What was the second thing that they did within 3 days of their crossing? What was the second thing that they did just 3 days after their crossing? Question number 3. Who did Moses call upon when there was trouble? Who did Moses call upon when there was trouble after they crossed? Number 4. What do we learn about God's ability to heal from chapter 14? What do we learn about God's ability to heal from chapter 14? And finally, the last question is, what did you learn from today's thought for the day? Well, let's go back and look at the questions. What was the first thing the Israelites did when they crossed over the Red Sea and saw their enemy destroyed? They sang. They danced. Oh, Baptist, sorry, but they did dance. They sang and they danced, and they continued to praise God, to thank Him for His power, His salvation, His kindness, His holiness. Look at it. It's 21 verses of singing praises to God. It's a very important part of worship, isn't it? To praise God and to sing to Him. I don't have a good singing voice, but I love to sing to Him and enjoy praising Him and praise choruses. I love to sing the old hymns too. Question number 2. What was it that happened just 3 days later? Now they're singing praises, they're on a mountaintop, and they're having a great old time. And just 3 days later, what happens? They don't have any water, and they start to grumble to Moses. Just 3 days after God has delivered them and destroyed their enemy, they don't go to God and say, God, we need some water. They start grumbling. You know, there's almost nothing worse than grumbling. I'd much rather have somebody come right out and oppose me than to grumble behind my back. And that's exactly what the people did. They grumbled to Moses about the fact that they had no water at Marah. Who did Moses call upon when the water problem developed? He called upon the Lord. He did what all of us should do anytime we have a problem. Call upon the Lord. Now remember, He has 3 ways of answering. He can answer by saying, yes, I'll take care of that problem. No, I won't take care of that problem. Or wait. But the first place we ought to turn is to the Lord. Not to Moses, not to our pastor, not to our mate, but to the Lord. It's the best place and the first place we ought to turn when we have difficulties. Question number 4. What do we learn about God's ability to heal? Look closely at verse 26. And God says, I, the Lord, will be your healer. Now, please don't think that I've gone charismatic on you. God doesn't heal everybody. The healing that He does is not based upon having enough faith. And we certainly don't want to put God in the box saying He has to heal supernaturally. How foolish it is when people let their children or their mates die because they want God to supernaturally heal them instead of seeking proper medical care, which God works through doctors and nurses and medicines. And He doesn't heal everybody. If He did, there'd be no faith involved in being a Christian. If every Christian was always healed of every infirmity, everybody would be a Christian just because of what it was in it for them. What do we learn? We learn to sing praises to God, to recognize who He is. We need to recognize His kindness, His holiness, His power, and we need to celebrate and to praise and thank Him. We need to remember who to call on in times of difficulty and be ready for whatever His answer is. And then we need to remember that He can heal. He can heal supernaturally. He can heal through the doctors. And sometimes he doesn't heal. Sometimes he allows us to be sick. Sometimes he allows us to die. But he can heal. And there's no reason not to use the scriptures, to follow the scriptural procedure when you're sick, to call upon the elders of the church and pray over you, or to pray for those that are sick amongst you. But remember, he doesn't heal everybody. He didn't in the Bible, and he doesn't today either. And it has nothing to do with you not having enough faith. That's your thought for the day. God bless you and have a wonderful day.